Tuesday edition of Good Morning Anambra. How are you? Sure you had a good night rest. Okay, welcome. My name is Ijema, and we have lined up some beautiful programs for you. Being pleasure this morning. The first one in our lineup this morning being a press review. So if you stand by, I'll come back and then introduce that to you. Welcome. Okay, welcome to Press Review. Joining me this morning is Ifeanyi Ogunebunam, a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Ifeanyi.
It's a pleasure being here.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Okay. And Barrister Ifechukwu Dan Jacobs, also a public affairs analyst. Happy New Year, Barrister.
The same to you. Happy New Year, viewers. You're welcome to the program.
Okay. Welcome again. Let's begin from our website as usual. Anambra State Government cautions against tax evasion to avoid sanctions. Anambra Health Commissioner commends UNICEF Global Fund for State Pharmaceutical Central Store projects. Anambra State Women and Social Welfare Commissioner reconciles ostracized women, widow, with Obaro community. Well, these are the stories making the round from our website this morning, Tuesday, the 23rd day of the month of January 2024, the almighty 2024. Okay, gentlemen, let's start talking. Tax. So, let me start with you. There's been insinuation that there is too much of it, and some people have said there's too little of it. And then, can we just put us through what tax can do for us, okay? And the need not to evade it.
First, the truth be said, if there are no tax, there's no development. Because when the wealth is collectively collected, everybody contributes his own little quota, then we'll have enough. Even the Bible recognizes it. It says you should bring it to the house of the Lord, that there may be enough. And I will thank the governor of Anambra State for the model he's using in tax collection. You know, no more tax contractors or individuals who are enriching themselves higher than the state. The revenues are collected directly using UBET, using the CROs. UBET means Unified Hybrid Enforcement Team, using community revenue officers, then spreading the tax offices. As of today, we have less than 100, and they are working to expand them. There are also a lot of sensitizations, programs, and seminars. Last week, SEDEC was with some stakeholders telling them the need. And then there's also this separation of those organizations, societies, and then orchestrated individuals who block the state government from collecting their taxes. You know, they create themselves as superstructure that you cannot do the issue of internet-generated revenues without them. And the governor came and dismantled them completely. His philosophy was very simple. I either collect it or I don't collect it. So it's just very simple. I will collect my money by myself or I will leave it out. And he's getting his funds. And that's why you can see that there's a lot going on. Even the local governments were allowed to collect their revenues directly using their revenue offices and revenue staff. Yeah, that's what is happening. And that's why you can see that there's relative peace. You know, the former tax collection philosophy brought aboros.
Yes.
It breeded hoodlums. You know, but now that the state is collecting its revenue by itself, he knows those people that are collecting them. He apportioned them to what we call base, tax basis, and then operational basis. And if anything goes wrong, he can say, okay, it is those at XYZ location. And who are those in XYZ location? They'll bring out their names. Now, the issue, whether the taxes are much, I don't think so. Like those in transport, you pay operational fee. If you are in the parks, you pay your park levy. If you are in private park, you pay your operational levy. and then you pay your monthly stipends to the state government. And these things are collected seamlessly without quarrels.
And there's sanity in the
There's
society.
sanity in the system. Then those traveling, there is manifest. You know, those operating in sand beaches, you know, there's a stipends they used to collect there, and all the rest of them. You know, even those in sand beaches where they allowed some contractors, as at last week, he has dismantled them completely. And they are moving into technology now. There's a device they just test run it on Friday in tax office there in AIRS Oka. They are going to be fixed in vehicles, you know. So it becomes easy for you and even as we are talking, in AIRS, they developed a software that even you, the vehicle operator in transport
AIRS
and
is
whatever,
Anambra
Internal
Revenue Services,
that you can know when you are owing. There's tax complaint platform, they call it Ubet complaint, where issues are raised and then is treated. So there's that engagement, direct engagement, you know, it's not through a third party. So whoever you are dealing with in tax, but the funny thing is not much, but the issue is that there are only very few persons in the tax basket, and the state government is trying as much as they can to bring a lot of people into the tax basket so that the tax rate will come down. Because if the state is expected to generate 10,000 and there are 5 persons paying the 10,000, it looks as if it's much. And then the issue of double taxation is virtually coming to an end, except in some markets. And the state government knows the markets, and they are doing a lot through UBET and through the CROs to dismantle them.
You pay the market management and you still pay the government.
No.
Is that what you mean by double taxation?
You see, double taxation is where some group of persons unofficially go into the market and be collecting money.
They are not part of the market management.
They are not part of the market management. Sometimes they connive with the market management. And then we also have a situation where some market chairmen by themselves create some levies within the market, you know, and then give it all manner of names, and then deploy their tax force to go and recoup such monies from either people coming into the market or traders within the market and all what's not. But all this is being handled. I speak with authority on this because I know how far the state has gone, and to a very large extent they are carrying the civil society along in all this, and it's becoming, you know, more transparent than it used to be. Like on the average, Anambra gets between 2.5 to 3 billion naira. Unlike before, you can't even say how much the state gets in their IGR.
What is more or less?
Nobody knows then.
Okay.
But as at now, you know, there's that constant engagement with the stakeholders, constant engagement with the tax officers, the CROs, and all what's not, you know, and it's getting clearer. And then I sometimes don't blame the people because they don't understand what is happening. But when you bring it to their knowledge, when you let them understand, that's the essence of the community revenue officers, and then you find having the enforcement team. They are close by you. They are your brothers and your sisters. You can assess them. Some are people you know personally. So you can sit and ask him questions anywhere you see him. Please, is this real? Can this? And then the issue of creating platforms where people vent their anger and ask questions. The other day there was a ticket that was just newly introduced, and everybody was pouring it in that two-bed complaint, asking, is this real? Yeah, are we supposed to pay? And then you see that engagement, you know.
Okay.
Once that engagement is there, then it makes it
that's
clearer.
transparency, yes.
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on. Jacobs will have problem with the medical system in the whole of the country because of, especially when it comes to drugs, because some of these multinational companies that produce drugs are leaving the country. And in a time like that, we'll have this commendation coming from this, the Commissioner for Health in Anambra State for UNICEF Global Funds, and that's of the State Pharmaceutical Center, Central Store projects being established here. So what do you have to say?
Well, that idea is a very good one, to make essential drugs available to the citizens. Because when issue of out of stock is being rampant in our hospitals, it becomes a very serious issue because healthcare delivery will be nowhere to be found. So without drugs available, medical doctors cannot achieve much. When you diagnose the sickness, no drug to use to treat it, administer, it's become a serious issue. So it's a very good step in the right direction.
Okay.
If they should do more on that.
They should, if
do
there's
more.
availability
And
of drugs.
take issue of adulteration. And that will even help them to reduce issue of adulteration in the market, because when you supply direct from the manufacturers to that center, you can easily analyze the original from the fake.
Thank you very much. Anambra State Women and Social Welfare Commissioner reconciles ostracized women. I want to look at this. It was a kind of story we had when we were growing up. They will tell you that there's something you do in a society and they ostracize you. Amapoge, asopoge, as the language may be. Orun oguno or ogunebunam. Do we still have something like that in our society? Like if you commit, and I don't know.
Well, it's laughable that in this time and age that we are talking about in common palace, I say Ochanja, Mado. You know, in as much as I will not support where law and order is not obeyed and things are done the way haphazardly or anyhow, any manner you think. But I will not support a situation where a widow, which means she lost the husband, saddled with the responsibility of fatherhood, motherhood together. What will she have done? Maybe she refused the Omoadas to shave her hair. Maybe she will refuse them in umiliozu. You know, all those barbaric and you know, in fact, women, I don't understand. You know, I don't understand why women are so wicked to themselves. Because this one now, a man obviously may not be involved. Because when it comes to the issue of this widowhood
men will be behind the scene and pushing the women.
I am of the know that even when a king in a community makes law and no mother say na me, it becomes na me. So the issue is that women should look into some of these barbaric and those laws that are archaic. And then in a modern society, what is a sopomad? And to me, it's just a child's play, you know. But the issue is that sometimes the person
feels. These days, first of all, you go to court. I mean,
do you really need to go?
No,
to court? Live your life.
No, definitely.
You live your life.
Definitely, ostracization is a constitutional issue, fundamental right issue. Okay. If you happen to ostracize a person, you have denied that person that right of.
Signed about results is myopic, unpatriotic for not to lash federal government, MBF. Like what's playing out? This romance. Okay, kidnapping. Tinubu approves emergency procurement of tracking equipment. Okay, federal government to fund students' pass scheme with education tax. Okay, I think we have seen the story. And then, do we still have another one coming from here? Rivers Christ says, confusion over conflicting court orders. Okay, that they don't allow them to kill us. Father of kidnapped sisters recounts daughter's ordeal in captivity. Very, very pathetic. Okay, the Guardian newspaper is our next paper this morning. 6 years after electrification project, varsities, hospitals in darkness, federal government, $105 million power project flops. Terrorism in military uniform. Terrorists in military uniform abduct 30 persons in Castina. Nowhere to hide. Federal government to fund students' loan. We have seen that story. And then, what else do we have coming from here? Northern senators fall to lopsided 2024 budget relocation of CBN and FAN offices. Liberia's new president suffers a heat stroke during inauguration. Oh. Okay, do we still have any story of interest coming from here? This paper is too busy today. What's it? The Guardian. I'm too busy. Crisis looms as sacked Plateau lawmakers resume. Why, what do you call it, rivers are resuming too. It does appear there's a truth somewhere. Okay, Punch newspaper, kidnapping epidemic. Most abductions in Abuja, others not reported. We are asked not to report now. Victims' families. Most abductions in Abuja and other places not reported. Okota, others gain notoriety as kidnapping hospitals, in Abuja. And then why kidnap cases are underreported. AI private investigators. NSCDC destroys 4 rivers illegal refineries. Well, you are not building any. Okay, Sun, Daily Sun newspaper is our newspaper before we start talking. Beside the name template of the Daily Sun, we have the story, Rivers crisis deepens as court voice states 2024 budget redeployment of clerk and deputy clerk. And the writer there says, orders Governor Fubara to represent a budget to legally constituted assembly. Insecurity, this is the banner headline on the front page of the Daily Sun. Insecurity, Obi Bode George, Middle Belt Forum raise alarm, say kidnapping, banditry have worsened. And then beside here, I have other stories coming from the Daily Sun. Drama in Plateau Assembly as 16 sacked PDP members vowed to resume legislative work. Okay. Lassa fever outbreak hits FCT emergency operation centers activated. AFCON, 6 Guinean fans die jubilating country's victory. Very, very unfortunate. What is it down here? Tinubu running inclusive government says can. Christian Association of Nigeria. Okay, gentlemen, let's start talking. Starting from where we, started. Federal government deploys education tax. We have seen that. So this student tax loan and the modality of assessing it, does it look real to you? Let me start with you, Jacobs.
From what we have seen so far, there is a bit confusion on issue of assessment because nobody have assessed that form. No students have assessed it so far. To ensure that the issue of assessment is possible and seamless. The modalities for repayment is still something that is confusing because the time of repayment and the students' issue of getting job have not been considered. Somebody might take the loan after graduation, he might stay up to 10 years without a job.
So how do you repay?
You will repay. You give that person, the student, the money to acquire the certificate, to go through education and get the certificate.
When my elder brothers were in school in the late 70s and early 80s, there's something they call student bursary. Shouldn't this one be turned to student bursary?
Is a different ball game.
Why loan? Why not bursary as it used to be?
Bursary is just an assistance to the students to further their education. And it's not refundable.
They're giving you loan to further your education. So why don't they just convert it to bursary? This is a commonwealth where you can give legislators all the money in the world and then give students loan.
Even the worst part of the whole issue that most of these people that are bringing these policies are people that enjoyed free education.
Oh, okay.
Up to university level, they are paid nothing to acquire education.
Okay.
They should, even on the issue of education, the government should invest more. Because without educating the populace, you can't get the required development. Education drives development. We know that.
I know. Okay, let's move on. I don't want you to talk on that because I know you are boiling. Let's move on to another story about the Northern Senators protesting relocation of CBN. Yesterday was the ACF, Arewa Consultative Forum, and now it is the Northern Senators. What exactly is going on?
My only question is, are they being relocated outside the enclave defined and called Nigeria? If they are being relocated outside the enclave and the territory defined as Nigeria, I have an issue. But if it's not, then something is funny somewhere. Because must all federal government establishments be in Abuja or the Federal Capital Territory? I don't think the answer is yes, except the Constitution otherwise stated so.
No.
And if the Constitution didn't state so, then the question is, why must everything be concentrated in the same place? Just like the nonsense we are doing in energy. We have our gas in the south, and then we set a turbine in one community in the north, and pipe gas from the south to the north, and yet we have a national grid. Why not concentrate the gases, the turbines where we have the gas, and then push to the national grid? Why must all federal government establishments be in Abuja? And if we really want to develop Nigeria, we must not center all our establishments in one place. Because if we do, then some place will be heaven, some place will be hell. But if we spread these government offices to virtually all the states or geopolitical zones, then there is bound to be development.
Okay, you brought the idea.
So I don't understand the issue. And then why must a certain section of the country sensationally be demanding for this? Was the federal capital not in Lagos before now? It was. And there are still federal government properties in Lagos that are lying waste and idle. And yet, money is being spent in producing, in procurement of capital projects to accommodate those federal government establishments. That's waste.
When they're doing nothing.
That is waste.
Okay.
So why spend all those capital projects, when those offices, ministries, departments, and agencies can as well use some government properties outside of Abuja, and we save this money for ourselves?
Okay.
I don't see any reason why.
Okay, let's move on.
Except there is something we need to know.
And most of these
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
commercial banks, they have their headquarters in Lagos. Most of them. And it will be easier for CBN to monitor them.
Well,
you CBN monitor from their headquarters, not through the branches.
like I heard on the background, that marriage, it be like say divorce don't come.
And just don't worry. They will
Divorce
better
don't come
come
for the
out.
marriage.
Okay, let's look at what's going on in Abuja, the abduction, the kidnapping, the banditry issue. Punch and the Daily Sun highlighted it more, where somebody is saying, victim's family is saying that what is going on in Abuja is underreported when it comes to kidnapping. And then Obi, Bode George, and the Middle Belt Forum is raising alarm that this is on the increase. But don't forget that we also saw somewhere where they said that Tinubu has ordered, equipment that will help track down these kidnappers.
Okay, the issue of security is supposed to be the paramount issue in this country. Because if you can't secure life and properties for the citizens, there's no way you have development. Investors will not come in. The president was busy going around the whole world seeking for investors without having an enabling environment for investors to come in. Without security, no investor will come in to invest in this country. And without the security, even the local establishments will not thrive. Okay, issue of farming now. Most of the farmers cannot access their farmlands because of insecurity. And there's hunger everywhere, not because we don't have arable lands to cultivate and get enough food to feed the populace.
It's just that these people wouldn't let us...
They could not allow the farmers to go in and do the needful in terms of farming. So the issue of insecurity should be tackled seriously. Government should do everything humanly possible to make sure that issue of security is curtailed to a barest minimum. We know that there's no way you can stamp it out completely, but at least to the barest minimum.
Okay.
Imagine Abuja, the state capital. Well, if this is happening in Abuja, what about other areas? What about the rural areas?
It's not new in Abuja, because I knew during the Buhari when these guys invaded the prisons and the whole lot of things. This thing has started even before Tinubu. But do you agree? Let me come to you now. Do you agree with Obi, Bode George, and the other people that is it on increase now?
I don't agree. You see, many of us are alarmists instead of providing solutions.
Okay.
These are not new to us. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. We know that Nigeria is under-policed, first, and it has been over the years. What are we doing about it? We kept quiet. How many policemen do we have? What's the percentage of the policemen to
the
population? That's number one. Number two, where is our intelligence? Obasaram, you know, concern me. No worry. Chinua Achebe rightly said that one who doesn't contribute to anything one day contribute to his own grave. So when everybody is feeling unconcerned about issues of security, you know, I grew up in meeting my grandfather that when he's leaving, he watched the footsteps within the compound. When he's coming back, right at the entrance, he'll ask you, Kedonye Bialeba. We don't even know our neighbors. We are trying to live my own life. My own. So security is everybody's business, not only government's business.
Okay.
Then the second issue is, what solutions are we putting on ground? The elders, the stakeholders, if there is, because the stakeholders will have is only when it comes to the issue of politics and politicking and sharing the national cake.
Has anybody called them for a meeting?
You don't need to be invited. You are a stakeholder. That's why they are stakeholders. I'm expecting.
You don't need to be invited.
Yes, you don't need to be invited.
Okay, they're talking as people that are
They
not
are
invited.
not talking. Rather, they are sounding alarmist. They are telling us what we already know. Tell us something new. Tell us how we'll solve these problems. Provide solutions on the table and let government now say, go away with your trouble. Go away with your solutions. Okay. You know? So what are we really doing? The so-called stakeholders are the ones who will go to the police and milk every policeman to guide themselves. Go to civil defense and pick up the security from them. Go to DSS and pick up the security, and they will come to the outside and be shouting.
Okay,
But
let's
I
look at the
believe-
rest
I
of the
believe
papers.
that-
Before you come in, please, let's look at it because we don't have enough time again. The last papers we'll have here, the Nation newspaper, federal government explains how students who are assessed loan will have sent that story. Let's see Daily Trust and see if we can get something new. Tinubu pushes for Kwankwaso Ganduje reconciliation. APC share meets Kanu stakeholders Thursday. We needed to talk a little politics, especially what's going on in Plateau and that of the River State. Okay, murdered Nebahara backed first class. Oh my God. Okay, let's not just talk about them because it's depressing. Nigerian Tribune is our last paper this morning. Crisis looms in Plateau Assembly. Okay, I said we're going to look at what's playing out in Plateau and River State, where some of these lawmakers are back to stage. Are they back to reconcile and make sure things work well, or are they back to become the spoiler again, based on who is paying the piper? Yes, briefly before we go, Jacobs, please.
Well, on the issue of crisis in Rivers and Plateau State, this is what we call uncultured politicians and injustice. Because the Plateau crisis is being perpetrated by the decision of Court of Appeal.
Caused by?
They delved into the issue of primary issue, not electoral issue. They're not supposed to use such issues to sack lawmakers. And the Supreme Court condemned them, only that the hands of most of the politicians in this issue is being tied because they are the last court on the issue of parliamentary election, tribunal. You can't go to Supreme Court from there. And now they have created a problem. But now the question now is, now that the Supreme Court have condemned their act, that condemnation is not enough. It's not enough to
I should be asking you that. The judiciary has messed this country up.
Simple. Simple. Hit the nail on the head. Hit the nail on the head. You see, our lawyers have always shouted about the law, the operators within the temple of the law, the education sector, and the operators within the education sector. See, this issue is 100% caused by our so-called learned silk and judges. Look at the conflicts of, a conflict of judgment, even from courts of contemporary jurisdictions and all what's not. And then you are pointing it at the politicians. If they give you money, collect the money and say the right thing.
Well,
they have set the fire burning, just like in the case in River State. If you buy the law says if you leave party A, upon which you want election to party B, please interpret what is there. we don't need your contribution from your head,
No,
because
no
your
long
head may
story.
contain nothing.
No long story. That's
Your
a
head may
laid
contain
down
nothing.
law. That's a laid
There
down
is a
law.
laid down law,
You
electoral
know,
act
that,
is there,
if you
constitution
live
is
from here to
there.
here,
So
you
when you
lose
now
this.
bring in your own
And then you
thinking,
go to court
your
and
own
the
thinking,
lawyers will
they have
be-
created crisis.
The
They have
issue of-
created, and they are pointing at the politicians.
Well, the
The
issue-
politicians are the bad people.
You
I
know-
vehemently refuse to agree,
the
because
law-
if those operators in the temple of justice are really doing what they ought to do, they should be very bold and courageous enough to say you are wrong and you are right. But what they are doing is just a complete balderdash.
But one thing you should know,
Feeding on the
that
politicians' back.
Balderdash.
on issue of judges, they're in the
Creating crisis
not
and
only
security
that, they're in the
issues.
society, and the mode of appointment contributes a lot. Because when you appoint,
Are they not lawyers?
I mean,
Wait, are they not
mode of-
lawyers?
They are laid down rules.
They are lawyers.
How long are you guys going to
Agreed.
give us this excuse?
I mean, these excuses are not tenable.
No,
Can't you
No,
see
they are not
that?
tenable, my friend.
They are terrible. Do you know why they are terrible? Because there are laid down rules on the issue of appointing judges. And once you do not follow it, you can't get the best hands.
But the same rules you people
So
set
why
is that the
can't-
oldest
why
must be the
can't
chief
you
judge,
why can't
irrespective
you
of who
revoke?
he is. If he said it's empty and the skull is containing a maggot,
somebody-
he will still be.
No, somebody.
You see how you see the
No,
nonsense?
It's not
That is that's what you people told us.
Judiciary, oh,
Judiciary, I
You
mean,
don't understand the working.
you see, we don't understand. And they say they are the learned
Let me
men.
tell you.
We are the lettered men.
issue
So the learned men have learnt nothing.
On the issue of appointing the chief judge, you recommend at least the most three seniors. If there is an impediment on the most senior, you can appoint.
We remember
from
what
the
happened in Spring
remaining
Court not
three.
quite long.
So there
We
is
remember what happened in Spring Court just not quite long. Nigerians are poor students of history, where we know that the Benjamin in front cannot give us what we want, and he was stylishly whisked away. Then the judiciary started shouting, interference, interference, interference.
Let me tell
And
you.
what?
The
There you
issue-
are.
No.
And the whole compound is
getting-
contained of lawyers,
Yeah.
no outsider.
Yeah,
Nobody who
yeah.
is coming from outside to interfere with you people. Why can't you people put your house in
There's
order?
somebody.
You are pointing fingers at
Let me
others.
tell you, on the issue of appointment of judges in this country, most of the time, executive plays.
I cannot agree. I know
Yes,
somebody who put
a
all
lot
his
of
children
influence.
because he's a Spring
Are
Court.
you not
He is now
independent?
pushing all his children.
Why would you
All of them
allow
are inside there.
executive
What are you
to?
saying?
Why would you allow executive to appoint? Are you not independent?
They
You're an
influence- I don't
independent
mean
arm
they
of
appoint, but They
government.
influence a lot of.
Okay,
issues.
they influence.
Do you also influence their own appointments?
That's what
Why
we
don't
are.
you stand on your feet
What
and
are you
get
saying?
what you
That's
want?
why we are talking about
Go and look
independence
at
of
the Federal High
judiciary.
Court.
How do you get that independence?
Go and look at the appointments
How?
of the Federal High
Is
Court
it me that will
judges.
give you the
Go
independence?
and check the names.
should-
Stand up
Their
on your
mother,
own.
their mother, their sister, their uncle belongs to the judiciary.
Thank you,
They are
gentlemen.
coming through the process.
Thank you.
We know their names. We don't want to call. We want us to call names. To start calling names. How they come into the
Thank
whole
you.
system.
That's what we are saying.
How are they not bringing people who are coming from other
Hey,
places?
gentlemen, you're setting my house on fire.
I mean, what are we saying? And they are
Thank
talking
you.
about others.
Thank
People
you.
security must come with clean hands. That's
Let
what
me
people
tell you,
told
the
us.
judge-
You are not.
the
People are
judges-
coming there without clean hands.
That is the issue. That is where
Una emelugo
we
more,
say
more
that's
adiosi
why we are talking about the issue of appointment.
Una emelugo
All
more.
right.
Yes, you follow the due process. You
You
don't
guys
supposed
should
to
go and
appoint
put
your
your
own
house
brother.
Say
in
no
order.
that.
Simple.
More wine in enye ni alo emegi.
I tell you, nobody should be appointing you. You're an independent arm of government, so
More
you
wine
should
in
stand
the-
on that and get what you
what I
want.
mean.
Thank you very much, Barrister Ifechukwu Dan Jacobs.
Thank you, the
Thank you for joining us this morning. It's been a very hot one. Ifeanyi Ogunebunam, this is your name. I think I have graduated.
Yes, you are. You are getting somewhere.
Thank you very much for coming this morning.
Nigerians, our problem is with us. We are all casualties and we are responsible. Nobody should point accusing finger at the other until we sit together to decide how we want to live our life and how we direct our country. Let nobody point at each other. We are all responsible.
Okay, let's be waiting for when we shall sit together and then fashion out how to live our lives in this country. Thank you very much. My name is Steve Jama. We're going to see you at the other side of the divide. Thanks.